As many of you know, this is a color wheel. It may seem like a color wheel is all theory, but it's really not. It's hands down one of the most practical tools that you can use when deciding on a foolproof color scheme. It's definitely one of the tools in an interior designer's toolbox. Now, let's do a quick review of how to read the color wheel. You might remember from your high school days in art class that there are 3 primary colors. Do you remember what they are? You are correct if you said red, blue, and yellow, and that they are considered primary because you can't mix any other colors to achieve these colors. Rather, you use these colors or hues to make other colors by mixing them together. So, do you remember what the main secondary colors are? You got it right if you said purple, orange, and green. Purple is achieved by mixing red and blue. Orange is achieved by mixing red and yellow. And green is achieved by mixing blue and yellow. Now, for you advanced students out there, you might remember that apart from primary and secondary colors, we also have tertiary colors, which you achieve by mixing a primary color with a secondary color. These colors include colors like blue-purple, yellow-green, and red-orange. Now, apart from the main colors in the color wheel, we also have our neutrals, which are primarily white, black, gray, brown, and beige. That said, you can use some other dark hues as neutral. For example, you'll see many designers using navy blue as a neutral, which is softer than black and is more complementary to many people's skin tones. So, now that we know how the color wheel is laid out, let's talk about how to use it from a practical standpoint. While there are many different types of color schemes you can derive from a color wheel, let's begin with the 3 most common, and then we'll discuss some lesser used color schemes as well. First, to the most common 3. We have monochromatic color schemes, analogous color schemes, and complementary color schemes. Whichever color scheme you choose, I recommend choosing one primary or a predominant color, and then ideally 2 accent colors. Now, for you analytical types out there, and you know who you are, you may be wondering, well, is there an ideal proportion in which these colors should be used? There actually is. But please know that you don't have to do it this way, but if you do, it will generally create a color scheme that is naturally pleasing to the human eye. So here it is. For your predominant color, in more than 50% of your space, so maybe 50 to 60%. This could include your wall colors, the main color in your rug or rugs, and perhaps a piece of furniture or 2. For a bedroom, this would include your bedspread. Your main accent color should be roughly half that amount, so about 25 to 30%. This would likely include some furniture, some artwork, and perhaps window treatments or accessories. The second accent color should be used in roughly half the amount that you use for your primary accent color, so say 10 to 15%. This can be utilized in your pillows, as an accent color in your rug, other accessories in a room, and perhaps a small piece of furniture like a side chair. But again, you don't have to use these percentages. Just try to have one color be your primary color, and then use roughly 2 accent colors for a pleasing color scheme. Let's tackle the monochromatic color scheme first. You savvy color students likely know that monochromatic just means that you are using different shades and tints of the same color. So, if you have a blue monochromatic color scheme, this means that you would use various light and dark blue colors in your scheme. This is generally pretty easy to do, especially for someone who doesn't feel comfortable mixing colors. Now, to keep this scheme from feeling flat or boring, make sure to use at least 3 different shades or tints of the color and incorporate a lot of different textures and details into the room. One note about this color scheme is that you need to make sure that you're using lighter and darker values of the same color or hue. For example, let's say that you want to use various shades of green with emerald green as your primary color. Then be sure to stick with the green family and don't introduce colors that have other colors in them like a blue-green. You can do this from a design standpoint, meaning it can look good for sure, but then just be aware that you've deviated from a true monochromatic color scheme. Truthfully, most people don't choose to do a monochromatic color scheme, and I wouldn't recommend doing your entire house in a monochromatic color scheme. I mean, after all, how boring would that be? But it can be a unique and beautiful approach for 1 or 2 rooms in your home. Now let's move on to the analogous color scheme. An analogous color scheme refers to the approach where you use colors that sit next to each other on the color wheel for your color scheme. When using this type of color scheme, I recommend just using 2 or 3 colors and use either all cool or all warm colors for an approach that will work every time. Also, be sure to pick just one predominant color, such as blue, for a cool color scheme, and then use green and purple as your accent colors. Conversely, if you want a warm color scheme, you may choose orange as your predominant color and use red and yellow as your accent colors. Finally, I find that cool analogous color schemes, particularly blues and greens, often create a more restful, relaxing feeling than other types of color schemes that I'll be discussing. And for the third main type of color scheme, we've arrived at a complementary color scheme. This color scheme refers to using colors that sit opposite each other on the color wheel. Interestingly enough, when you use a complementary color scheme, you create a mood or a temperature that is more neutral because one of the colors is cool and one of the colors is warm. For example, blue and orange. Blue is cool, orange is warm. Let's contrast this neutral mood with the mood you get with an analogous color scheme. When you use an analogous color scheme, you end up with either a cool feeling or a warm feeling in the room. Okay, now back to complementary color schemes. First, there's no question that if you are going for a dramatic mood, a complementary color scheme can be a great choice. This color scheme definitely gets your attention. However, this color scheme doesn't have to be this dramatic or attention-getting. Let's talk about how we can tone this down. First, just like with the other color schemes we've discussed, I recommend picking one of the colors as your dominant color, let's say orange, and then use its complement, in this case blue, as an accent color. Second, a complementary color scheme works well if both colors are in their muted or less saturated forms as either tints, which you'll recall is a lighter version of the color, or as shades, a darker version of the color. However, if you really love a brighter blue and want to use a complementary color scheme, then I would use a muted or less saturated version of orange. The other rooms where you will often see complementary color schemes used is in children's bedrooms and playrooms. In this case, using the colors in their more saturated forms is a fairly common design choice. Apart from these 3 primary color schemes, now let's discuss 2 other slightly more advanced but often less utilized approaches in interior design color schemes. These include a split complementary color scheme and a triadic color scheme. A split complementary color scheme occurs when you choose one base color, for example green, and then you coordinate it with the 2 neighbors of its complementary color. This is a little less dramatic than a true complementary color scheme. A triadic color scheme is when you use colors that are spaced equally apart from each other on the color wheel, like yellow, red, and blue. Just like with a complementary color scheme, for both a split complementary and a triadic color scheme, it is best when you choose one color as your main color and then use the other 2 as accent colors. So what's great about all of these color schemes is that they are tried and true color schemes and will work nearly every time for you as well. All that said, let's say you know that you'd like to go with a monochromatic color scheme. How do you choose what color you want? There are many approaches which will help you narrow down your choices and which I'll discuss later in this course. But one thing to always keep in mind is that at the end of the day, a color scheme is about personal preference. One quick tip that I give to my clients is to look at the clothing colors you have in your closet. Often, these are the colors we are drawn to instinctively, so using these preferences for your home will result in you being happy with your final color scheme. One note about all of these color schemes is that it's important to recognize that many colors, if not in their purest form, can be cool or warm depending upon what other colors they are mixed with. For example, a yellow-green color which contains blue in it may read as more cool than warm as opposed to a true yellow color. Another example would be gray. While gray generally reads as cool, it will read as more warm if it has brown or beige in it, such as taupe or greige. The same goes with white. You may know from experience that there are warm whites, those that have yellow undertones, and there are cool whites, those that have blue undertones. So, if you are trying to create a distinctly warm or cool mood in a room, be sure to choose the corresponding colors in their purest forms, including the particular tints or shades of that color. Finally, you may have noticed that there are other colors in these rooms apart from the colors mentioned in each color scheme. To learn more about what's in a complete color scheme, see my lecture called What's in a Color Scheme.